four talks in this session, that is on catheters, balloons, stents, and occlusive devices. So let us start with catheters. Can I request Dr. Gaurav Garg from New Delhi to start his presentation?
Good evening, everyone. I thank organizers for giving me this opportunity. I also want to thank this man, Werner Forsman, who around 100 years back in 1929 used a simple rubber catheter to pass from his own antecubital vein into the pulmonary artery, and thus an angiographic film of the heart could be possible. Cornard and Dickinson, they mentioned it as it was a key in the lock. That is, we found the key to open the door so that we can use the catheters and the devices in our heart to perform the procedures. What should be the characteristics of an ideal catheter? It should have a better torque control. That means we can manipulate it in whatever direction we want. We should be able to manipulate the catheter. It should have a good strength so that it should not break when we pass inside the vessel or a heart. It should not break inside. It should be flexible so that it can go easily into difficult lesions, difficult anatomy. We can pass the catheter very easily. The tip of the catheter should be atraumatic so that we should not injure the intima, we should not injure the vessel wall and doesn't cause injury into the vessel. Obviously, it should be radio opaque so that it should be easily visible under the fluoroscopy. It should have a good memory. That means it should remember its shape. Whenever you pass the catheter inside a short sheath or a long sheath, as soon as it comes out of that sheath, it should regain its original shape. The friction of the catheter from the surfaces should be very low, like from the guide wire or the vessel wall, it should not rub against them. So what are the parts of a catheter? The catheter has a hub, a shaft, and a tip, and the curves which are given differently by the different manufacturers. So hub is made up of plastic or a metal from where we hold the catheter, and the hub tapers off so that the wire can go easily inside the shaft. The shaft is made up of different materials to give it a characteristic of an ideal catheter. Different manufacturers, they make it differently with different materials. Now coming upon the curves of the catheter. So it has a primary curve, secondary curve, or some catheters have tertiary curves also. Primary curve is present close to the tip. Like in case of a right Judkins catheter, the primary curve is given so that it can fit easily into the right coronary ostia. And secondary curve is given so that the catheter can fit easily into the aorta. According to the size of the aorta, the secondary curves are given, and accordingly the numbers are given to the right Judkins catheter. Now how to measure the catheter? Catheters are measured in French scale. One French is equal to 0.33 millimeter. That means roughly a 1/3 of a millimeter is a 1 French. So catheters are measured from their outer diameter, not from inner diameter. They are available from 3 French to 8 French. 3 French is readily not available in our country, but in Western countries, 3 French catheters are available. So what is the material with which a catheter is made up of? So it has an outer jacket, a stainless steel braiding, and an inner layer. Outer jacket is usually made up of polyurethane or a polyethylene, but different manufacturers, they use different materials. But commonly materials are used are polyurethane or a polyethylene. Some manufacturers, they use Dacron also. So outer jacket gives strength, it gives flexibility, it is kink resistance. And braiding is done so that we can give adequate torque and it should be kink resistance. Internal lumen is usually made up of PTFE so that there is smoothness in the vessel, and it should be device compatible, it should not rub against the materials, and it should not absorb the water. What are the types of the catheter which we use? Catheters are basically of two types. One is torque controlled and other is flow directed. Torque controlled catheters and flow directed catheters have some basic differences in them. Torque controlled catheters are stiff. We can manipulate them with our hands. On the other hand, flow directed catheters, they go with the flow of the artery or the vein in which we are passing the catheters. Flow directed catheters usually have a small balloon at their tip, so it helps in propulsion of that catheter into the bloodstream. There are certain disadvantages of flow directed catheter. That is, flow directed catheter, obviously they go along with the bloodstream and they can easily go where the blood goes, but they cannot go against the blood flow. Suppose if we want to pass the flow directed catheter from the IVC to the RA to the SVC, it will not easily go from the RA to the SVC against the blood flow. Similarly, in regurgitant lesions, the flow directed catheters, they don't easily go. For example, if there is a severe TR, it will not easily pass from the RA to the RV. It will again fall back again and again because of the severe TR. But on the other hand, if we take a torque control catheter, that we can pass easily from IVC to the RA then to the SVC, because these catheters are stiff as compared to the flow directed catheters, and we can easily pass them in the structures which are against the blood flow. Similarly, in regurgitant lesions, these torque control catheters can go with small manipulations. But obviously there is a disadvantage that too much of manipulations, and because of their stiffness, they can easily injure the vessel, they can easily injure the heart. So we should be very careful with these catheters when we are using them. And these catheters have subtypes, like they can be used for diagnostic purposes or they can be used for angiographic purposes. Diagnostic purposes means these catheters are open-ended without side holes, and angiographic catheters are usually with multiple side holes. So what is the advantage of a multiple side hole catheter as compared to a end hole catheter? So when we are using a side hole catheter for angiographic purposes, we give dye into the catheters so that the dye should spread equally in all the holes, and there should be an equal spread of the pressures in the holes so that we should not injure the vessel wall. But on the other hand, if we use open-ended catheter for angiography, suppose we are using a power injector for open-ended catheter and we are using for it angiography, then we can easily injure the vessel wall, because there will be a single stream, high pressure stream, which will directly hit the vessel wall and we can easily injure it. Other disadvantage is that the catheter can ricochet. It can cause a serious whiplash injury when we are giving a power injector inside a diagnostic catheter which is open-ended without side holes. So that's why manufacturers, they give side holes to the catheter so that the angiography can be done very easily. These are the different types of end hole catheters, like a multi-purpose catheter, left Judkins, right Judkins, and Cobra catheters. They are different types of end hole catheters. Little bit about catheters which are very commonly used in our pediatric cath lab. See, different catheters are made with different curves and they are destined to be used in different anatomy. But that is, I will say, the type of catheter which is used should be operator choice. Some catheters are favorite for particular operator, and with his experience he learns that in these kind of anatomies I can use these catheters very easily. So there is no strict dictum that this particular catheter should only be used for this anatomy, but it should be operator choice that whatever anatomy he feel comfortable, that this catheter can go very easily, he can use it according to his experience. So a multi-purpose catheter, a right Judkins catheter, a pigtail catheter, these catheters are very commonly used in our pediatric cath labs. Multi-purpose catheters was designed by Schumacher. It is of two types, MPA and MPB. MPA has a 120-degree curve and MPB has a gradual 90-degree curve. Their subtypes are MPA1 and MPA2. MPA1 is a diagnostic catheter with a single end hole, and MP2 has two side holes along with one end hole. These are the MP catheters. Now coming on to angiography catheters, the most commonly used catheters are pigtail or Angio-Bowman, were designed by Judkins. So it has a terminal 5 cm which coils back on itself and forms a tight loop like a pigtail. That's why the name is given pigtail. So it has 4 to 12 side holes. They are located in the terminal 5 cm inside the loop so that it doesn't cause injury when we take angiography with the help of this catheter. So these are the examples, these are the pictures of a pigtail catheter. B is the usual pigtail. A is the angled pigtail, which is sometimes but not very commonly used. It is sometimes used in mid-LV angiography. C is the reverse angled pigtail. D is the wedge catheter, that is known as Swan-Ganz catheter. F is the typical Burman catheter, which has a balloon at the tip and proximally there are holes. And E is the reverse. And now some basic differences between the guide catheter and the diagnostic catheter. Guide catheters are, if we talk about RCA catheters, they are stiff, they are a larger internal diameter to accommodate the larger devices, to accommodate stents, and they are more angulated as compared to the diagnostic catheters, and they have more layers inside them for better reinforcement. Thanks a lot.
So thank you, Dr.